Oh, dear listener, gather round as I weave you a tale of woe and disillusionment. A saga set in the hallowed halls of the University of Sussex, Falmora Place, where dreams are not nurtured, but dashed upon the rocks of bureaucracy and discontent. I am but a humble scribe, a vessel for the stories that must be told, a beacon of empathy in a world grown cold and indifferent. Once upon a time, not so very long ago, I embarked upon a journey, a quest for knowledge and enlightenment in the emerald embrace of Falmer's rolling hills. Yet, as I stepped through the gates of the University of Sussex, a shiver ran down my spinning premonition of the trials that lay ahead. The campus, though verdant and charming at first glance, held within its heart a labyrinth of sorrows. For you see, dear friends, the university was plagued by strikes, a ceaseless tempest that left students adrift in a sea of uncertainty. Imagine, if you will, paying a king's ransom for the promise of an education, only to find that your mentors, the very custodians of your academic future, were embroiled in a bitter struggle for fair pay and recognition. Day after day, we trudged to lectures that never materialized, our spirits waning as our work went ungraded. Can you fathom the hardtake of donning a cap and gown, the embodiment of one's scholarly endeavors, without the faintest clue as to the fruits of your labor? To walk across that stage, a hollow shell, devoid of the grades that were to be the compass for your journey beyond. But let us not tarry too long on the picket lines, for there are other grievances to air grievances that weigh heavy on my heart. Picture, if you will, the anguish of parents, their vehicles laden with the hopes and dreams of their fledglings, left to languish in a car park without so much as a whisper of guidance, or a sign pointing the way to solace or even a mere lavatory. The University of Sussex, in its infinite wisdom, had also promised a law clinic, a beacon of pro bono service, a place where the scales of justice were to be balanced by the eager hands of tomorrow's barristers. Yet upon closer inspection, this clinic was but a mirage, a cruel jest that vanished upon approach, leaving in its wake a trail of broken promises and shattered illusions. And oh, the tales of admission applications, handled with the grace of a charging rhinoceros. Each personal statement, a tapestry of aspirations and experiences, swiftly rejected by a system that valued speed over substance, a system that turned its back on the diverse tapestry of would-be scholars yearning for a chance to shine. But hark, let us not forget the operational practices that seemed as though they were plucked from the annals of a bygone Iran era, where inclusivity and open dialogue were as scarce as a friendly smile on a rainy day in November. The university, a fortress of outdated methodologies, stood firm against the winds of change, its walls echoing with the silent cries of those who dared to dream of a brighter tomorrow. As the semesters waned, the specter of COVID-19 descended upon our campus, casting a pall over our communal existence. The university, once a bustling hive of intellectual pursuit, became a ghost town, its halls eerily silent, its once vibrant pulse now a faint murmur. We were cast adrift, our accommodations snatched away without a second thought, our field trips canceled, our lectures reduced to mere flickers on a screen. And when the plague had passed and a semblance of normalcy returned, the university's response to the marking boycott was as lukewarm as a cup of tea left forgotten on the windowsill. Our final assessments, the culmination of years of toil, were left to wither in the wind, our honors hanging in the balance like a pendulum poised to strike at the heart of our futures. Oh, the irony of it all to be granted a temporary certificate, a hollow token of our time at the University of Sussex, Falmer. To don our regalia and parade before our loved ones, all WH.
All knowing net days, 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 net days.
Businesses near the University of Sussex, Falmer, are a mixed bag, but mostly they're a disappointment. If you're expecting quality, consistency, or even basic customer service, prepare to lower your expectations. The area is plagued by overpriced mediocrity, poor management, and a general lack of care. Let's start with shopping. Churchill Square Shopping Centre is the closest major retail spot, and it's a masterclass in frustration. Parking is a nightmare, expensive, poorly maintained, and riddled with hazards. One visitor left with 3 screws in their tire and no compensation, despite the debris clearly being the mall's responsibility. The staff. Unhelpful at best, openly hostile at worst. A security guard huffed at a customer asking for directions like they were interrupting his nap, and if you're hoping for variety, forget it. One entrepreneur was flatly rejected when proposing a candy kiosk because apparently the mall has a strict no-joy policy. Even the lights are aggressively bright, turning a simple shopping trip into a sensory assault. Then there's dining. Tortilla Brighton should be a safe bet for a quick, tasty meal. Instead, it's a gamble. Will your burrito be flavorless, missing half its ingredients, or worse, contain raw chicken? Multiple customers report paying for guacamole and getting none, or receiving orders so old they're practically fossils. The staff's response: indifference. One customer was told the beef in their burrito was just like that, soggy, leaking, and utterly inedible. For £18, you'd expect more than a sad wrap stuffed with disappointment. If you're craving something fancier, Plateau will happily take your money and serve you, well, not much. Tiny portions of mediocre food at outrageous prices, £14 for 3 sad lamb koftas, £30 for a pork chop that tastes like regret. The service, abysmal. One elderly couple was shouted at to leave after an innocent mistake, while others report food poisoning from raw oysters and beef tartare. The wine might be decent, but when the atmosphere feels like a chaotic school cafeteria run by stressed-out teachers, it's hard to enjoy it. For relaxation, Float Spa promises serenity but delivers stress. Cancellation fees are predatory. One customer was denied a refund for a service they never received, essentially being robbed in broad daylight. The facilities. Grimy showers, stained towels, and a general vibe of neglect. One visitor drove home caked in salt rather than shower there again. And if you're expecting the promised post-float sorbet and tea, tough luck, staff forgot. Brighton Zip rounds out the misery with terrible service and baffling policies. One customer was fat-shamed in front of their daughter for being 2 kg over a suddenly lowered weight limit. No refunds, just a suggestion to lose a couple kilos. Ice cream melts faster than their patience, and waiting 45 minutes for burnt, dry chips is the norm. The staff, either absent or openly rude. One group was abruptly kicked out mid-meal with no warning, shutters slamming down like a bad heist movie. Even utility, a simple household goods store, can't get it right. Brooms break within a week, and the staff's attitude is as flimsy as their products. So what's the takeaway? Businesses near the University of Sussex, Falmer, are a lesson in lowered expectations. Overpriced, poorly managed, and often outright hostile, they're a minefield for visitors. If you must venture out, go armed with patience and maybe a packed lunch.
You know, it's really disheartening to hear about the kinds of things that happen around places like University of Sussex, Falmer. I mean, you'd think an area so full of young people and energy would be safer, right? But the truth is, sometimes it's not. Take, for example, this one time at a small electronics shop near the university. It was one of those places that seemed really friendly at first, you know. They had all these gadgets on display, and the prices were just too good to be true. And that's the catch, isn't it? Too good to be true usually means it's not true at all. Some tourists came in looking for a quick deal on a phone or something, and the shopkeeper made them an offer that was hard to refuse. But as soon as they paid, he said the item would be delivered to their hotel. It never arrived. I can only imagine how they must have felt, realizing they'd been tricked, their vacation budget suddenly a lot tighter. I bet they spent hours trying to track down the guy, probably went to the police, but I reckon the scammer got away with it. It's just so wrong, you know? How could someone take advantage like that? And then there's this other scam that happens at some of the boutiques and fashion stores around Falmer. They have these flashy sales, like today only, or just for you, and before you know it, tourists are being sold knock-off designer goods at the price of the real thing. It's deceitful, and it preys on people's desire to get a good deal. I can picture the tourists back at their hotels, examining their purchases, the sinking feeling as they realize they've been had. They probably felt embarrassed, upset, and struggled with whether to confront the seller or just cut their losses and leave. And the scammers?
They likely moved on to the next unsuspecting visitor, as if it's all just a game. It's sad, really, that these things happen in a place that should be buzzing with creativity and honest trade, especially so close to a prestigious institution like University of Sussex. It makes you wonder what goes through the minds of these scammers. Do they not see the harm they cause? Do they not care about the trust they break? I guess we'll never know, but one thing for sure, it leaves a dark mark on what should be a vibrant, welcoming community. So, if you're planning to visit the University of Sussex, Falmer, just be mindful, okay? Keep your wits about you and remember that if a deal looks too good to be true, it probably is. It's tough to always be on your guard, but it's necessary in a world where not everyone plays fair. Let us hope that someday, the only thing tourists have to worry about in Falmer is which wonderful experience to have next. 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 To have next.